Tell the story. Go ahead,
All
Gordon.
right. Am I talking to you or am I talking
No, you're talking to her.
All right. So, when I had the opportunity to show at the Toronto Artist Project for the first time, I was at a booth right by the front, and this man came up and said, I can't believe I see black men here. And not just myself, but in my portraits. And he said, this is fabulous. I'm going to tell my friends. And he told his friends, and they all bought work. And then that's when I said, representation matters. And that's when I changed and I said, I am doing portraits of black men.
Wow.
So seeing Douglas here is making me very emotional because this is a show that means so much to me. And I wouldn't have gone on this path if I don't think I would have gone on this path the way I have if it hadn't been for Douglas showing me the support, and he and his friends showing me support when I first started. So thank you, Douglas. So.
Thank you, Gordon. I'm so happy to see that you've done this. And what would you say the show? What would you say about the show? If you're going to talk about the show.
We're talking about the show a lot.
But what would you tell me? What would you say to me about what the show represents for you? Meaning for you?
To me, the hard part about being a self-taught artist, I'll talk about something a little bit more, less about the work itself, but what the whole show represents to me. And the hard part about being a self-taught artist is getting recognition within the art world as an outsider. And so a lot of ways that people who make their way through art, through the art world, they do it through education and through having a master's in fine art. That really is what propels them forward. This, to me, this show is sort of like my master's thesis. So not having that experience, I do have, a degree in textile design, but this was my way of doing the research and doing a show that was really tight and really connected to a specific story. And so this is why the show is so significant to me. And to get the reaction that I've been getting from people about the show is really showed me that this kind of focus was really worthwhile. Like, this is the first year I haven't done an art fair. So I've been focusing just on the show for the whole year. So it's a very important show to me.
Yeah. And along with that, the work is beautiful.
Thank you.
The work is beautiful. Like, this is, even if I just crassly want to just own brilliantly painted works, I mean, I look at this piece and I'm just like, damn, it's beautiful, stunning work. And then you do this stuff as well, the way you did this. And I, of course, I'm a fan of your ornate antique framing, but I also love how the work itself stands with this kind of framing, very strong.
I really wanted these stories that connected to my imagining of the history of what it would be like to a formerly enslaved person. I wanted to be about the image and the feeling, not necessarily about the additional gilding of it all. I wanted to be respectful to the images. Not that the other ones aren't, but I felt like these stories were a different kind of story that I was telling, and they didn't require the same sort of framing.
Yeah, no, they're beautiful. They're beautiful. No, and I love that idea of the research, because recently I was just talking to folks earlier about watching the series Bridgerton and having a reaction and struggling with really taking it seriously and why you have to recast black people? We have so many other stories to tell. But then I saw an interview by I forget which actor or actress who plays one of the roles, and she did this interview. She talks about the history of the presence of black people during that time period. In sort of like aristocratic positions and so on, right? And then of course I went online and did some other research and found that is actually true. There's been this long history of how black people's presence. And I know recently in the UK that they're also gathering photographs of the existence of this population that were captured at certain points, right?
And I've even painted a portrait of Joseph Boulogne, who was...
I just saw it in the corner there,
and he was a real person. He was, his father was a slaveholder. But his father brought him from the Caribbean to Europe, and he was educated in France, and he became a fencer and a musician and an opera writer, and he was a real figure in the upper class of France, which eventually led to his downfall because then he was imprisoned later on. So he died penniless and in prison.
Yeah, and the bamboo, because you were saying there's some significance of the bamboo in the background. What's the significance of the bamboo?
He was, his father owned a bamboo plantation. So it's kind of like where we started, where we ended.
Right.
How's it going? So that was the significance. I wanted to make sure it was connected to his beginnings.
Right. Beautiful.
Thank you.
No, no, it's wonderful. No, Gordon. I keep saying, and your brushstroke. I mean, I don't know if you notice it that when I look back at your early work compared to now, I guess over time your skill and your brushstroke seems to have gotten more refined,
Yeah,
stronger, right?
yeah.
As you
And
said, right?
I've also switched from acrylic to oil, and I fought that for a long time.
Why? Why did you fight it?
There's a lot of reasons. One being that oil paint it requires more technical. I thought it required more technical knowledge, especially working with like linseed oil and paint thinners and all that sort of stuff. And with acrylic, it's just water and brush and paint. So I ended up working with water-based oils, so that's made it a lot easier. But I actually, have been thinking about it a lot lately, and I think it's also allowing myself to, because there are levels. There's a system, within the art world, and I think, to be quite honest, and this is the first time I've really said it, I think that being an oil painter would mean I didn't really feel like I could be an oil painter artist, because that was a different type of artist. And as I said, this is the first time I've really said this out loud.
Right.
And so, I just felt like it was still about the idea of learning to accept myself as an actual artist. It took me a couple of years before I can actually call myself an artist.
Right.
And so I think, not that there's anything wrong with painting with acrylic, but in my head, I created this sort of division. So, but now I absolutely love working in oil, and it's really, I think, lifted my work to a different level.
Yeah.
But again, I love acrylic, so.
And you still do work in acrylic?
A little bit. Sometimes I do some background work, but not much lately.
Wow. So you're on a journey, and I can't wait to see how much further you go, where you end up, because you're in lots of places. I've heard about the Kingston show.
Yeah, I have a show coming up in Kingston, and I have.
Kingston, Ontario, folks, not Jamaica.
Not Jamaica.
Just to be
Although
clear.
I was hoping for one in the Caribbean in March, but I'm
Or
not sure.
Kingstown, not Kingstown in St. Vincent, right?
So at the Etherington Gallery. So that's a really exciting show. A young curator, Jason Cyrus, has put that show together, and he's done some work with Julie Crooks. So he's one to watch as well.
Brilliant. Well, good to see the show. The show's great. I love it.
Thank you.
Love it.
And thank you for and I want to say thank you, not just for what you've done with me, but the fact that you've actually your support of Black creatives. The fact that you go to these events, you do your sneaky videos that everyone thinks is a photo. Yeah, I know I'm on video right now, so that's okay. But the fact that you promote different types of restaurants and foods and places to go to, like, you don't realize, I don't know if you know how much impact you're having on people's lives, and what you do is I can't even say how incredible it is, because you introduce so many people to new things, and you also build the community, which is what we really need, and we need more Douglases. So applause to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Some mutual love and appreciation. What can I say?
All right, thank you.
Yeah, I feel like I'm at the end of the hall.
And it's so nice to, it really does. It's so nice.
Okay. And
I mean everything I'm saying.
I know. I believe
I
that.
love what you do. I love following you. I love seeing what you're doing. I always want to say, we got to try this place. We got to try this place. I've just been so busy. I haven't been able to get out as much as I wanted to.
I know. I'm overwhelmed. People. Oh my God, Doug. Just make a list.
Yeah.
And go through it.
Yeah. We usually, James and I, my partner.
James, the partner, who I also met. Hey, James.
Yeah.
Oh, Jay! Thanks so much. I'm not the talker.
We usually forward your post to each other. Gotta try this.
Yes.
So,
It's the to-do list.
yeah, and that's our to-do list is our DMs.
Yeah. So beyond the show in Kingston, what else is coming up? Okay. Oh, now you want to keep a lid on that for now. Okay, I know. I understand. You want it to be dramatic when it comes, right? Yes, I hear
Actually,
you.
one of the hardest part about doing this show is not sharing a lot of the work, because I love sharing the work as it comes together.
Right.
So it was a new experience for me to just sort of hold things back. But I'm glad I did.
And what about the day job with the school and kids?
I'm
And
still
all
a
that?
full-time teacher.
Wow.
Teaching grade 2, and I'm getting older, so energy levels are getting lower. But we'll see what happens. So.
Brilliant. All right. Well, it's a pleasure, Gordon, as
thank you.
always.
Thanks.
Yeah, and most of the show is sold, so I love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
really happy.
All right. Take care.
Thank you.